Oh man, getting old sucks, doesn't it? But everybody's doing it. That's the reality. The good news is it won't suck as much if you do this every day. And this is a simple routine that you can do right as you get out of bed that's gonna make your body feel so much better, all right? So here's how it looks. Imagine that you wake up in the morning and the first thing that you're gonna do is you're gonna swing your legs out of bed and you're gonna come to the edge of your bed. Now in this position, the first thing I want us to do is a couple of seated side bends to stretch our spine, open up our shoulders, and also work on elongating our spine because all day long, we just lose our posture like this. So start out like this. You're gonna put one hand down towards your side, one hand over. We're not gonna see how far we can bend sideways. We're gonna see how far we can lift our rib cage toward the sky as we extend the arm, all right? So back and forth like this. And make sure you're pointing your thumb backwards as you're doing this, not letting your shoulder internally rotate. We want that external rotation. That's so much better for the shoulder. So go back and forth. And what you can do is 10 or so of these repetitions of the seated side bend as you keep lifting your rib cage, your head, your posture all the way towards the sky. Now all right there, drive the fingertips towards the ground. Let's get the neck a little bit warmed up. So let's reach our face toward the sky and then come to the other side, reach our face toward the sky. So again, this isn't about how close I can get my ear to my shoulder because that's gonna encourage bad form. We want length and we want to stretch those muscles across the side of the neck down into the shoulders and the traps, all right? So just like before, do about 10 of these, neck from side to side to loosen up the neck muscles and really start to feel good. We're gonna do one more neck movement. So we're gonna do a little bit of a rotation, looking over our left shoulder slowly, not so far that we get a tweak in our neck or anything like that, and just slowly look over the opposite side. You can just count to 10 as you look back and forth from side to side, loosening up the sides of the neck and the rotator muscles of the neck as we do about 10 of these right here. This is already gonna make you feel so much better, all right? Okay, after that, what we're gonna do is take the hands behind us, point our fingertips backwards, and we're gonna lift the chest toward the sky and just lift as much as we can as we take a few deep breaths. Let's take 5 deep breaths. So big belly breath in. Lift the chest even more as we exhale. Big belly breath in. Lift the chest even more as we exhale. If you can even decide to lift the hips up with you at the same time, extending the hips, opening up the hip flexors if you want to do your belly breaths like this as well. Let's do one more together. And then, all right. Now from there, we're gonna do a few sit to stands just to get the knees moving and making our body feel good. And this helps us practice good form for movements that are super common in our daily life, like standing up from a chair. So make sure your knees are going over your toes, make sure your weight's in your heels, and make sure that you're bowing forward from the hips, not rounding the back, but bowing forward from the hips. And we're doing a few sit to stands like this, right? And taking that big belly breath in before we stand up. We can do 10 of these, slow and controlled. We're not going fast, we're focusing on good form. Again, not coming up on the toes or bringing our knees forward or letting our knees knock in like this, pushing our butt back, inhaling as we go down, exhaling as we come up, using our arms in front of us for a counterbalance as we come down, opening our chest as we come up, finding that breath and doing about 10 of these sit to stands. If you need to, you can put your hands on your thighs, and you don't have to do 10 if it's super hard. You can do 1 or 2 or 3, but it's a great movement to practice throughout the day. Now, once we've done 10 of those, we're gonna come back to the side bend because this is such a good move for stretching and strengthening the spine, but we're gonna do it in a standing position this time. So feet right underneath the hips, one hand goes on the hip. This time I'm gonna use this hand to push this hip out, and as you do this, you're gonna deepen the stretch. So as I go from the side to side, what you're gonna feel is a stretch on the outside of the hip. So you're gonna come to the side, come back to the middle, come to the side, push that hip out, and come back to the middle. Give me 10 more of these as you come from side to side. Right? Reaching the rib cage toward the sky, not collapsing our body towards the side. And again, if we push that hip out like this, feeling that stretch from the outside of the hip. Make sure to turn those thumbs backwards as we do about 10 of these, all right? Now I want you to loosen your arms up, make sure there's space around you, and we're just gonna do 10 of these waist turners, but we're gonna do 10 each side. So the way I like to think about this is I look to the left, I go 1, and I let my arms just dangle, 2, just like this, all right? Now, as you're doing this, I want you to just let the arms just be super loose like ropes. You can turn your hips and your knees and bend your knees if it bothers your knees at all as you come from side to side. You can also look with your eyes as far as you can so that we're constantly trying to get a little bit more rotation on the spine. If that makes you dizzy or doesn't feel good, you can keep your head forward as well. Let's just try to loosen up the rotational aspects of the spine, making it feel a whole lot better. All right, we're almost there. After you do 10 of these, Shake it out, shake it out. And then we're gonna do 10 side lunges, and I'm gonna show you a few different ways to do this, okay? And if you need to, you can turn around, face your bed, put your hands on the bed, and use your bed for support, right? So we're gonna start with a wide stance like this, and we're gonna start by dropping our body down to the side like this, and then opening the toe towards the sky. And then we're gonna switch sides, drop the body down like this, open the toe towards the sky. Again, if you need support, you can put that support out in front of you. We're just trying to open the hips and strengthen the knees, the hips, and the ankles all at the same time. And as you go down, what you can do is try to create more range of motion. So if you're gonna do 10 of these or 5 each side, you can try to get a little bit deeper each time you go down, going back and forth, slow and controlled, opening the hips up. Big thing here too is keep this foot on the bent knee, keep that foot flat. Don't let it come up on the toes like this, okay? Keep it flat. And then slowly working our way down, ideally to the point where we can hang out with a full flexion in that bottom position as we go from side to side. So once you do 10 of those, last thing I wanna do is a couple quick ankle stretches to make your ankles feel good. So one of my favorites, come up on the tops of the knuckles of the toes like this, and just bring your toes forward, just forward like this. If this hurts too much standing, you can always do this from a seated position as well. That's gonna help stretch the top and the side of the ankle right there. You can just do 5 or 10 reps on this side. Same thing, 5 or 10 reps on the opposite side. Just loosening those up a little bit, right? I'll come back to the standing position because that's where I really want you at. And the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna turn to the side, squeeze the glutes, tuck the pelvis, and we're gonna just stretch that hip flexor for 5 breaths on the right, 5 breaths on the left. So taking that big belly breath in, and then letting the hips come forward towards the heel there. You can use a wall for support if you need to. And if you want it deep in the stretch, you can even bring your arms over your head, point your thumbs back, and just take those 5 deep breaths here. Slowly dropping the hips towards the heel. And again, I don't care if you're way up here and you're feeling the stretch, or if you're coming way deep into the stretch and you're feeling the stretch, all right? Lifting the chest toward the sky though can be a really great way to progress this. All right, so after those 5 breaths, slowly come up, rotate through to the other side, find your position. Again, use a wall or a chair for support if you're having trouble with your balance. Squeeze your glutes and turn your hips forward, so we want the tailbone pointing towards the ground, and then open that hip flexor up. Feel that long stretch here. I like to think about length from my heel all the way through to my belly, and take those 5 deep breaths. If you want, arms overhead, thumbs pointed backwards, reaching up, letting that back calf stretch along with that hip flexor. Slowly coming deeper into the position. Nice, and then when you're done, slowly coming out of that and just shaking it out, right? This routine is super simple. It takes less than 10 minutes, and it's gonna warm up every single area of your body and make your body feel amazing. So remember, getting old doesn't have to suck if you follow along to simple routines like this. Hey, speaking of follow along routines, if you want workouts that use movements like this that help you feel better in your body, then you're gonna love what we have over at WeShape. If you wanna check that out and try it for free, all you gotta do is download the WeShape app by clicking the link below.